And it comes to Liverpool this time, where they have given permission for Fabinho to complete a 40 million move to Saudi side Ittihad. He's not travelled with the squad to the Germany training camp. With the way things are looking, from the Liverpool point of view, what are your thoughts on this?
Do you know, it's funny, at the end of the season we were talking about Liverpool's midfield, and the thing I said was, well, it's interesting to figure out whether Liverpool, Klopp in particular, but the coaching staff, when they all get together and they talk about the players, whether Fabinho had a bad spell or whether his legs might have gone. And the fact that they're willing to listen to offers for him at this stage, with pre-season already started, tells you that I think the answer is they think his legs are probably gone. So that is what this tells me. And if they can get 40 million for a guy who they obviously are not desperate to keep him if they're going to let him go, then you take the money.
Because there's been some thinking with all these big moves to Saudi Arabia. Is it going to affect the depth of some of these squads in the Premier League?
Well, no, because the clubs don't have to let them go at the end of the day. If they don't get a great deal, then they don't have to let them go. So, you know, it's a bit like Harry Kane. Harry Kane maybe could have wanted to leave 2 or 3 previous occasions, but the club won't let him go, and that's it. So clubs are in a position where they can say no. They don't have to say yes. If they get an offer that is a good offer for them, then absolutely you take it.
You know what's interesting, though, Stevie, in Fabinho in particular, is that you're mentioning whether his legs have gone. He's only 29. And
it doesn't really matter.
Well,
if they think that he's not going to get back to doing the job he did because he can't get around, let's put it that way. Saying your legs are gone is harsh. That's harsh. But if he can't get around the way he used to, then absolutely you take the 40 million.
And I don't remember exactly what the game was. Obviously, it was months ago.
Well, which game?
But there was one in which he comes off the bench, and right away he's late to a challenge, and I believe he ends up getting himself thrown out of the game right away. Or it was a bad challenge and should have been thrown out of the game. And in that moment, I don't know if it's that specific moment that a club will look at and say, man, this guy's not quite what he once was. But if you were already leaning in that direction, if you were actually thinking about it, it's those sort of moments that kind of make the decision up for you, make up your mind for you. Is that this guy's having difficulties getting around. And I think all of that is highlighted even more by the fact that defensively as a whole, Liverpool were not very good. So everybody gets exposed just a little bit more. And a guy like Fabinho that perhaps doesn't quite have the legs that he once did gets exposed even more.
So here's the thing. When you have a player who quite clearly and basically is your defensive midfielder, he has to be at it properly. He can't be giving fouls away all the time because they're in a dangerous area. So if you're defensive midfielder, whether it's Fabinho or anybody else, is all of a sudden giving fouls away consistently, time after time, which this guy did. I don't remember that particular one, but he gave a lot of fouls away last year. A lot. And you can't have that. Part of his job is to break things up. But more importantly, he can't afford to be getting yellow cards and getting sent off. Or picking up early yellow cards and then he has to back off. Certainly not with the way Klopp wants to play the game, where it's all rock and roll and get after it and close people down. You can't afford to have your defensive midfielder, whoever it is, not able to get around quickly enough. So that's why, to me, it's a no-brainer if you get a good bid like 40 mil.
Frank?
First, I want to say that I'm sad, because I remember that when he was at the top, he was one of the main players. And if Liverpool became so successful, it's due to some players like him who came to the Premier League and showed their talent. And Fabinho was one of them when he was in the middle of the park, you know, with Anderson together. I mean, they were absolutely fantastic, maybe the 2 best defensive midfielder in the world. Now, it's really a discussion between Klopp and himself to know where he feels that his legs are gone or not, you know, and you know it deep inside yourself. And Stevie and Ali will be with me in that matter, where we all know deep inside where it might be the time either to retire or maybe to go to a club where you don't have the same expectations where they don't have the same expectation from you. So maybe they had that discussion with Klopp. Maybe Klopp said, do you think you can repeat what you were able to do like 3 years ago? Or we're going to have the Fabinho from last season? You know, give me an honest answer. Maybe Fabinho gave the honest answer, say, coach, I think I cannot anymore. I think I can give, but not what I gave like 3 years ago. And it's why Liverpool decided to sell him, because Liverpool cannot have Fabinho at 75%. They need a Fabinho in the middle of the park at 100%.
I can tell you when mine was. I was playing Tottenham away, and I think it was 1992, and I was playing wide in a 5, and I couldn't understand why I couldn't get up and down.
Is it just like that?
I just remember that was the day I thought, for no apparent reason, I'm not able to, I can't get up and down here. And I felt tired. Not tired, but I was out of breath. I was like, oh dear. I can still remember thinking it. Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.